JoJo's family. Okay? So they earned the right, the regions, which us as the regions, tuition to the state election, the science engineering, and Tyler has been awarded the trip to Los Angeles to compete in the International Science Fair May, which 87 countries from Los Angeles and competing. So, teaching that very well. So, I might turn it over to them, gentlemen, if I'd like them to make some comments. Maybe I would want to do it together. Their team. Hello, my name is just a man. My name is King. And we have no better general at Walmart Middle School. Our project is for a microwave wavelength. It's not a color light, which has different wavelengths that talk about the apparatus from communication for transmitting network. We will be evaluating the Wi-Fi satellite and HPC network to meet the low needs in the world. We use LED lights to simulate colors of red, blue, red light, and we also have two controllers being no light and natural light. Each highlights three different examples and different content in our experiment. After 4 weeks, we record the data and data. We measure the height, the duration, and the number of units down watching the plane. Our results indicate that red light is managed in growing seasons and germinations. I'm Marcella, and we're looking at the science fair, and we're playing a state in the next week this year. We are asking for sponsors as food, travel, and other accommodations are fairly high this year. Any help is greatly appreciated, and we will do our very best to represent Columbia County in this competition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jack Scopoletti, and this is Gavin Starling. We're 8th graders from Fort Middle School, and we're also doing our science project on radon gas, the search of radon gas. We are looking around our community and our school, testing different places for radon gas levels and see if there's any dangerous levels. Because radon gas is a very unknown.
It's a very cancerous substance. It is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, actually. And because of how deadly it is, we were to test it, mostly raise awareness. Because a lot of people either don't know what it is or don't fully understand just how dangerous it truly is.
And we would like to represent Columbia County in the state science fair. So we would like you guys to sponsor us and make sure we would be able to do that. We appreciate it a lot, and thank you.
As Mr. Olke said before, my name is Siler Robinson. I will be both competing in the state competition and international competition, where there will be other many countries competing. My project is a little bit different than their project. Mine tests to see if temperature has an effect on the dissolved oxygen concentration within a hydroponic solution and the retention of this dissolved oxygen within a solution. In Indianapolis, sorry,
That's fine.
tongue twister. And like they said, in state competition, the prices of the hotels and food have increased because of they're doing something in Lakeland, and Los Angeles has also increased just because everything's been dramatically increasing. So around $5,000 for the rooms this year, and that's just rooms for 8 days. One room for 8 days is $5,000, and we have to also take under consideration food, flights, all kinds of this stuff. So the estimated cost for this trip is around $1,000. So I'm here asking for y'all's consideration of donations for both of these trips, which the internationals is just a huge chunk of change that we can't just shuck out those dollar bills and be like, here you go. So, thank you.
Thank you, boy.
So you can see they're pretty talented. And it's too bad that, you know, these kind of opportunities, the cost that comes with them. And when they told me $5,000 for one room, although we can do better, I mentioned it the other night, we can pitch a tent in Los Angeles like everybody else, but I don't think that'd go over very well. So anyway, first of all, thank you very much for honoring these young men. They have worked very hard. I don't know if any of you ever did a science fair project, but if you did,
I can tell you that.
if you did, the hours of work that go in there are tremendous. Failure, our light group, the science fair is next Tuesday. They finally got their seeds to germinate properly and grow. Now they've been working since last October, and now what we do different? You know, they do different, but they're getting that information. They didn't quit, so working on that. So any consideration would be appreciated for them. Okay, so thank you very much,
Mr. Alfie, I think Mr. Hudson has a question.
Yes, sir.
So as a group, we're talking about two different trips. So we're talking about
Yes,
Florida trip and we're talking about California trip.
California trip. We've approached this as a group. They're a team. Okay, we work it as a team. And the first goal is to get them to the state science fair. That was the first goal. And there has been money accumulated for that in the account. But when we go and spend that to cover the expenses for the state science fair, now we're pulling from that trip to Los Angeles. So, yeah.
So the Los Angeles trip, how much you estimate
Well, we're about $5,000 short. So, yeah.
for that
About,
trip?
we need a total of about $10,000
I do think that
for the whole thing.
Ms. Laxton, I did make a call today, and I talked to Ms. Laxton about this, and I do think there is, regarding Siler's trip, because it is an international competition, I do think there's a board policy that covers that. Ms. Laxton actually sent it to me today, if she can actually share with us maybe a little bit about that.
Just while she's coming up, I do believe, Mr. Olfie, it's gonna be best if we separate the two accounts.
Yes,
We need to have a budget for the state meeting,
And then
not
one
meeting,
for the
state and
international.
And then international, because it's two different policies.
Yeah, the policy that I have is our policy 7.17, which is authorized travel expenses. And what it speaks about is a student who places first in a state or regional competition and has advanced to a national or international competition may receive up to 50% of anticipated cost. And then students who advanced but did not place first may receive up to 45% of anticipated cost. And then it goes on to discuss, you know what some of the anticipated costs are, and some of the rules and requirements of what we need to have prior to the travel, and it has to be approved, of course, by the superintendent prior to. So yes, sir.
so I'll be happy to share my copy of this with you. Mr. Olfie shares how to make that request to the superintendent, and I think also as to the other, I think a request can be made as to those expenses, but there's one specifically set out as to the international competition. So, if
Any questions on that?
do y'all have any questions, board members, about that?
Any questions on that?
But I have,
Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
I just want to know, could you give us the exact dates when the trip?
The trip is May 11th, May 10th, state days in Los Angeles.
It's May, what now? When
May
when will
10th.
you be leaving?
Probably on the 10th or 9th. 10th.
Yeah. Through the, okay. That's Los Angeles.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
what about Lakeland?
Lakeland, we have a van and we're going to drive down. That's within driving distance. So
But
we'll
when
leave early on Tuesday. This is next Tuesday. We'll
Next
leave.
Tuesday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we'll be back on Friday.
Do you have the funds for that?
As I explained, as
It's
we put this
combined.
in the combined fund, and, again, if we need to separate, we will, but, our first goal was to honor these as a group, as a team, and get them there. And then any additional money would go for Siler's trip. I don't know if that makes sense, but just, first goal was them,
Yeah.
as a group, as a team.
But I think if you separate out under this policy and make a
Yes,
request for
oh
this,
yes, I
you
think,
would
I
be,
think that could be easily done. And the thing is the trip's next week, so that will be expired anyway, that in there, so.
Mhm.
If you need a
Mom, did you have
different
a question?
account, we can do that. If you want us to set up an account for International Science Fair, we can do that, if that's what you would like. I believe I'm talking out, am I talking out of turn here, Mr. Cooey?
Yeah,
okay.
we just need to have them split up,
Did
state
you have a question, Mom? I think Mom.
and that international.
You can.
Right, she's helping.
Yeah.
I'll get you a copy
Ladies
of
are
that.
much better itinerary than I am.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll just give her my copy and then she can.
that's fine. Okay.
And then you can also make an additional request. I'm assuming
Yeah.
using the same,
Yeah.
the
Well,
same.
we just need a budget for the state meet
Yeah.
as well.
I got
Okay.
you, I got you.
Any other questions? Any other? Boys, I so enjoyed talking to y'all before the meeting. I was telling your parents and family, you know, I'm so impressed by all of you. You kind of you humbled me a little bit, or a lot, because you're so intelligent and so bright. You have a wonderful teacher. Your parents should be so proud. I mean, I'm so proud. They're great kids. Great kids.
I do want to say this, and I say it every time I get a chance. I think probably if we've been here before, I've said it again. Our students take second seat to nobody. And if we mentor them correct, they are world class. You mentioned world class. Well, here you have world class, and I'm proud to say that and brag.
Yep.
So thank you again.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Best wishes. Best wishes. Thank you for your time and effort. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Dolphy. We appreciate you. Thank you, board members. All right, we will get back onto our agenda. Got a little out of order, but that was perfectly okay. This was wonderful. We'll welcome everyone else who is here, and invite anyone who would like to comment on an action item that we have tonight. The only action items we have are our personnel items. Is there anyone in the room who would like to comment on our personnel items at this time? Can move forward at this time. With no one moving forward, we will move on to our next item, which is to close and adopt the agenda. There is an addendum with consent agenda 7A. Is the agenda and the addendum in order, Mr.
Yes.
Carswell?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to close and adopt the agenda with the addendum?
So moved.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion regarding the agenda and the addendum? With no discussion, all in favor of approving the agenda with the addendum, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. The agenda with the addendum is approved. We've already had one presentation, but we'll have the other now by Ms. Laxton, our monthly financial report.
Good evening.
Wanted just to go through, I did have some budget amendments that you guys should have, so all of this information should reflect the budget amendments that were made. The fund balance, unassigned fund balance is still at the 5.54%. Tax collections, we're down just slightly by 0.38%, so pretty much right in line what we were last month. Still up about 1.9 million over last year as far as collections. We also finished up a full 12 months of half-cent sales tax revenue collecting, so the district, after the charter schools portion, received right at 6.5 million. So that is right on target, actually a little bit above target, but right on target for what we anticipated, and feel comfortable, you know, with our 66 million in COPS that we just acquired. Electricity is favorable by 41,000 or 2%, and then fuel is favorable by 144,000 or 19.4%. So, any additional questions?
Any questions, board members?
Do you see any areas where we do have or may have problems on?
Not so far this year. I mean, we're looking fairly strong this year. We have some pretty substantial concerns when we're looking at budget for next year. So,
is that based on state funding?
That's based on state funding and anticipated voucher increases. So, I know we'll probably have a board workshop. I'm assuming probably soon, because we just got all the FEFP information within the last couple of weeks. So,
But the governor hasn't signed anything yet.
That's correct.
But once he signs it, we'll do a workshop in sometime, you know, late spring, I guess now. It wasn't a bad budget, it was a good budget, but the budget's contingent on us getting students and making sure the students, which we never set our budget for next year based on any growth. So any growth in the budget that they give us from the state, we set aside, operate under a flat growth. So we'll have a workshop. It's not a bad budget, but it's not a great budget either.
Right. Yeah, it's the vouchers, where they're getting their data for the vouchers. To me, is concerning because it's substantial increase. So,
any other questions? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, if that doesn't shoot up like they're anticipating it to do, then we should be okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Laxton, very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our action item, which is to approve our personnel items. There are several personnel items on the addendum. Those items are all in order, aren't they, Mr. Carswell?
They're all in order, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel items on the agenda and the addendum?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the personnel items on the agenda as well as the addendum.
Thank you.
And I second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding the personnel items? With no discussion, all in favor of approving the personnel items say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Personnel items are approved. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Again, please note there is one item on the addendum, which is item 7A. 7A regarding bids and purchasing, attachment B. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the item on the addendum?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding the consent agenda? With no discussion, all in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. We'll move on to comments. Is there a member of the audience who would like to address the board at this time? Please state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman and members of the board. Nicholas Albrecht, 498 Southwest Deanna Terrace. I'll try to be brief today. First of all, thank everybody here for your service. I know it's election time and there's a lot going on in the country. This is, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, this is often local politics, and especially involving children, is a very underrated thing, and I appreciate everything that y'all do involving a very important between the public funds and the best interest of the children. That being said, and this is to absolutely no fault of Ms. Laxton, who's, in my understanding, the financial expert, I couldn't hear, this is the public hearing, I couldn't hear most of what you were saying. And again, not being any fault of yourself, that young gentleman that was here this earlier, I was watching on YouTube, the last couple meetings on YouTube, and if y'all can't hear me, please let me know. I couldn't hear 90% of what he was saying. I could tell he He held himself well, he had an intelligent pitch, he had a good a purpose for it, and I think it's awesome that y'all support and have youth up here. But if the public meeting, we can't be heard, like I said, y'all can be heard excellently. I didn't know if it was a matter of YouTube or the equipment, or if it was here, but I can't hear the people that are at the podium. So like I said, if you're not hearing me, please let me know, and that's an important thing. Again, thank you for your service, thank you for letting me be recognized, but that's an important thing, whether it's a member of the public or a subject matter expert or anything, because what you have to say is very important, and from what I hear, Ms. Lackton, you're the subject matter expert. So, thank you, I appreciate it. Constitutional positions, anybody who took an oath, and this is very near and dear to my heart, I did 6 years in the Army and have honorable discharge, means a lot, based on the Constitution. So again, thank you, I can't express enough my appreciation, and please remember the kids and public funds, and God bless y'all.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the audience who would like to?
Madam Chair, I don't always address, you can sit down. That's why I sent Mr. Whittigren out the door, because I recognize the sound was not working. We're working on that. We will endeavor. I agree. My wife's told me she's watching it online. She can't always hear, so we're working to get the tweaks out and the bugs out. I agree with him that we need to make sure we're able to hear. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the audience who would like to address the board at this time? Okay. No one moving forward. We'll do our school board members. Ms. Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to let Mr. Cooey know, and I ask that he pass this on to the young men. We're very proud of what the children are doing. Hopefully we can work and ensure that we support all their efforts. It says a lot when young people are able to articulate the way they did at the beginning of this meeting. So I just want you to just say to them that we say congratulations. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Laxton.
Mr. Hudson?
Along those same lines of Mr. Cooey and the students, what a great job. What a great job Fort White does in producing students like this. I talked to all of them out there and talked to them about their projects. And during that time, my learning curve was going straight up. I learned a lot. If I'd had just a few more minutes, I'd have been an expert in each of those. But they're really good. They're really good. And we'll do any way we can to help them make sure they further their goals.
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Seal?
Okay. Just to echo what Mr. Hudson and Ms. Smith said, thank you, Mr. Cooey, for all that you do and your staff at Fort White High School. If you will, please convey our thanks to your teacher, an excellent teacher, and then to the students. It makes me proud to see that our CCS students are competing at the state level and internationally. Wow, that's awesome. And kudos to all of them. Please let them know how proud we are of all their efforts. Thank you, Ms. Laxton. And I just got an email, I think right before the school board meeting, that we had a clean audit. And so kudos on that as well. Thank you.
Mr. Feeler?
Well, I'm going to start a little different. Ms. Laxton, thank you. You know, I always enjoy hearing what you had to say about things. Mr. Cooey, again, please pass on our congratulations to those students. I think that's amazing. And hearing them, and I kept looking, thinking, you know, he said he was 13 and different ages, and they just speak like adults. And I in my long, almost life of 25 years, I would have never thought of half the stuff that they have thought about and that they were working on out there. And I think that's great that we have that coming here from Columbia County, a small area, sending them internationally. So please pass that congratulations on.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to pass on my congratulations to the mom. Great job. Parents are so important in all of this. And I also want to let the board know that I'll be out the week in May because I'll volunteer to chaperone this group to Los Angeles, because I'm pretty sure there won't be many problems happening out there with this group going out there. So, I'm just kidding. I'm not going. But I would go if you need me to go. But anyway, congratulations. It is awesome to see them represent Columbia County. Great day. Thank you. Next time.
Again, Fort White students, they're great. I love them. I'm very proud of them. And like I said, I went out there and talked to them, and I would love to have said that I understood what they were talking about, but my goodness, it's amazing what they're doing. So very proud of them, and I'm happy that we'll be able to help them get to their respective competitions. So with that, I think that this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.